Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. This week we've been letting the love force smile a little. We talked about humor, those little joys that sneak into the day, and the people who make life less weird just by being in it. Today, I want to talk about something I don't completely understand, which means it's probably worth talking about. I want to talk about those moments when life seems to wink at us. You know the kind I mean. You know, you think about someone that you haven't heard from in a while, and then your phone lights up with their name. You're having a rough day, and some song comes on that feels almost too perfectly timed, that maybe you were just thinking of. You're worried about something not even saying it out loud, and then a stranger says one sentence in passing that lands right where you needed it. Now, I'm not here to prove anything. I don't have charts. I don't have a laboratory. And after the Professor Potts videos that I've made, I'm not sure anyone should trust me near a laboratory anyway. But I do believe there are moments in life that feel like more than coincidence, even if coincidence is the only word we have handy. Not every odd little moment is a message from the universe. Sometimes a bird is just a bird. Sometimes the song on the radio is just the song on the radio. Sometimes the phone rings because people own phones and occasionally they remember how to use them. Still, I think we lose something when we flatten every beautiful surprise into nothing. There's a kind of wonder that doesn't require us to exaggerate. We can notice the timing. We can smile at the strangeness. We can let ourselves feel grateful without needing to turn the whole thing into a doctrine. That's where I think love lives so often. Not in the need to explain everything, just in the willingness to be touched by what arrives. A wink is not a speech. That's part of what makes it delightful. It's quick, it's small, it may not even be noticed by anyone else, but when it happens to you, it can brighten the whole room inside your chest. Maybe you're walking through a store, thinking about someone you miss, and there's their favorite candy on a shelf right at eye level. Maybe you're cleaning out a drawer and find an old note at exactly the moment you needed to remember that you've been loved. Maybe you're feeling invisible and someone you barely know says, "I was thinking about you." That can be enough. Not enough to solve everything and not enough to repair the entire world before lunch, but enough to remind you that life is still alive around you. There's a difference between being superstitious and being open. I think that difference matters. Superstition tries to control mystery. It wants signs to behave like instructions. It wants guarantees. It wants a little cosmic vending machine where you put in a fear and get out certainty. Wonder is softer than that, guys. Wonder doesn't grab the moment by the collar and demand a full explanation. It simply says, "Well, that was lovely." And maybe that's enough. The older I get, the more I think we need that kind of enough. We are surrounded by things that want to make us hard, suspicious, and tired. There's always another outrage waiting in line, another argument, another reason to believe the world has lost its mind and left no forwarding address. So when a small moment of grace slips through, I don't want to swat it away just because I can't prove where it came from. I'd rather receive it. That's not always easy for me. I'm much better at analyzing a moment than receiving it. I can take a beautiful thing and immediately start taking it apart like a cheap radio. Was that coincidence? Was that timing? Was I projecting meaning into it? Was my brain just connecting dots because brains love dots? Maybe. But after all the questions, there's still that quiet little warmth that says, Bob, you can just be thankful. The love force doesn't always arrive with thunder. A lot of the time it comes through the little nudges. A memory, a laugh at the right second, a phrase that stays with you, a person showing up, a door that doesn't open and later you realize it was mercy, a door that does open and you stand there blinking because you didn't know life still had that kind of surprise left in it. I'm careful with this because I know that people can get hurt by careless spiritual language. When someone is suffering, the last thing they need is someone saying, everything happens for a reason, as if pain is a puzzle piece that simply needs better lighting. I don't believe love asks us to explain away suffering. Love sits with people inside it. Love brings soup. Love answers the message. Love keeps watch. And sometimes, while we're trying to survive something difficult, a tiny flash of kindness appears. I don't think we have to call that an explanation. We can call it company. That may be what the wink really is. Not a full answer, not a map of the future, just company. A reminder that we're not as abandoned as fear would like us to believe. I've had moments like that in grief. You probably have too, I'm sure. Something small happens, and for 1 second, the veil feels thin. Not gone, not ripped open in some dramatic movie scene, just thin enough that love seems close. A song, a smell, a phrase someone used to say, or a joke you know they would have loved. And suddenly, for a breath or two, absence is not quite as empty. That doesn't erase the loss, guys. It definitely doesn't. It doesn't make grief tidy, but it can give grief a place to rest. Maybe that's why these little winks matter so much. They don't demand that we stop hurting. They simply remind us that hurting is not the only thing happening. There is still tenderness. There is still memory. There is still connection. There is still something reaching toward us, even when we don't know what to call it. And I do think love has a playful side too. We make love so serious sometimes that we forget it can have a grin on its face. Real love can laugh. Real love can tease gently. Real love can show up in ridiculous timing and leave us shaking our head. There are days when the love force feels like it has a very strange sense of humor. You drop something, bend down to pick it up, and find the thing you were looking for. You take the wrong turn and run into the person you needed to see. You complain about having no inspiration, and then the inspiration arrives in the most inconvenient place possible. That last one may just be podcasting. I don't want a life so serious that I miss those moments. I don't want a faith so rigid that it has no room for delight. I don't want a mind so guarded that every mystery has to be dismissed before it can smile at me. There's a humble way to live with wonder. We don't have to claim more than we know. We don't have to turn every coincidence into a command. We can hold mystery lightly. That may be the healthiest way to hold it. Because when we hold wonder lightly, it doesn't become pressure. It becomes joy. We can say, I don't know what that was, but I'm glad it happened. There's freedom in that. There really is. There's also gratitude. And gratitude changes the atmosphere of a life. It doesn't mean everything is fine. It doesn't mean the hard things disappear. But gratitude keeps us from becoming blind to the good that still slips through. A wink from love may not change the whole day. Then again, maybe it does. It may not change your circumstances, but it can change your posture toward them. It can loosen the grip of dread for a minute. It can remind you that the world is not only cruel, not only noisy, not only broken, it is also strangely beautiful. It is also full of timing. Timing that we don't control. It's also full of people who appear at the right moment, memories that return when we need them, and small joys that seem to know exactly where we are hiding. Maybe that's not proof of anything, but it's still a gift. And gifts do not become less real because they are small. A wink is small. A thread is small too. But enough threads held together can become something strong. So today, I hope you notice one. Not because you force it. Not because you go hunting for signs in every license plate, cloud formation, and breakfast pastry. Just stay open. Leave a little room in the day for love to be playful. Leave a little room for timing to surprise you. Leave a little room for the possibility that the world may still know how to smile. And when one of those moments comes, don't rush past it. Pause. Smile back. Let yourself be grateful. Because sometimes the love force doesn't shout. Sometimes it winks. And if we're paying attention, that little wink can be enough to remind us that the thread is still there. I'm Bob Barnett, guys, and this is Infinite Threads. Thank you very, very, very much for coming on this journey with me. I love you all very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.
Fears